Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Tiabu. It's Sunday morning, and I am here today to start a new show. A new show for the KyoAni slot. We finished K-On! Last week? I'm not actually sure. It was a little while ago. We finished K-On! And so this slot is open. And I said at the beginning when I decided to watch K-On! That I was probably going to just run through and watch all of the KyoAni shows that I want to watch in the same slot, keep them all together and do it like a themed studio slot. And so that's what we're going to do. So we are going to watch season 1, episode 1 of Hibike Euphonium today. Hibike, I know very little about this show. Like, surprisingly little. I went to do my normal thing where I go and I research the show and came up with a lot of interesting little bits and pieces that I don't know if they mean anything, but I think that they're useful for me in terms of like informing my viewpoint on the show going in. Like it would be nice if I could walk in with totally untinted glasses and a totally unbiased perspective, but there's just no way. And one thing that I really wanted to focus on in research was to look at the differences in staff and moving pieces behind the scenes between this show and K-On!, which I just finished. Partly because the core premise of this show, you got a bunch of girls who play instruments in high school. There are obvious similarities. It's really difficult not to immediately go, oh, so it's just like K-On! It's obviously not. There seems to be a competitive edge to it, and this seems like it's going to be a story with more of a core story and changes occurring to our characters than a slice of life semi-comedy, the way that K-On! Is. So I mean, you get that just from the tags, right? It's for Hibike, it's music school drama, and for K-On!, it's like comedy, parody, music school, something. Slice of life comedy music school. There we go. And I think season 2 is got parody in there somewhere. So dramatically different. The other thing that's interesting is that they have dramatically different source material. K-On! Is of course based somewhat loosely on a 4-koma manga, with lots of expansion and added in detail and fluff and good stuff by the staff. Hibike, on the other hand, is adapted from a novel, and initially I had it in my mind that Hibike was among the shows like Free, where KyoAni runs this competition thing, and they pull, I don't remember if it's manga or light novels or something, things that they can adapt that win the competition, get an anime adaptation, and then they have their IP in-house. In this case, it's just a novel that was written already, and it was, I believe, released in 2013. Yeah, it was published in 2013, and it had sequels being released by the time the anime was beginning to air. So this all lined up really well, and what I imagined that KyoAni wanted to do was they don't have ownership over the K-On! IP, so they have less say in profit discussions and all sorts of discussions, I assume. And I'm talking out my ass here. Don't take anything that I say as rote or law or true necessarily. But I figured that they wanted a similar IP that they could run with and make it theirs and benefit off of it entirely. So royalties, distribution stuff, contracts like licensing agreements, all of that can come back to the studio without having to bow to a publisher or something of that ilk. That's my guess, is what they wanted to do. They found these novels. They thought, wow, we could really do this. They probably resonated with the staff, and they got some people on board. I would love to see if you know that there's any documentary stuff about the making of Hibike that doesn't contain spoilers. Then I'm always super interested in that kind of stuff. One of my favorite pieces of media is the 3-part Kill la Kill documentary that just goes behind the scenes a little bit. It's fantastic. So if you know that there's any official info or details or stuff that could be found and watched or read, that gives insight into the production decisions and just the whole flow behind Hibike, and especially like transitioning K-On! To Hibike. I think that would be really interesting. Now, the other thing is there's quite a large gap between K-On! And Hibike Euphonium, and like 5 years of KyoAni time, which is time for, I mean, from 2009 to 2015, digital tools exploded, and the amount of stuff that became possible during this time frame is nuts. Like, what was airing in spring 2015 alongside Hibike? I think that's a good idea. I should have looked that up before, but yeah, if I just do this by like TV, spring 2015, what aired spring 2015 on TV? Snafu? Yeah, teen romantic comedy Snafu, Lyrical Nanaha, Danmachi, Vampire Homes, Shoku. Okay, that's great. That is a perfect point. Shokugeki no Soma season 1 aired at the exact same time. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let me go through and just see if there's anything else that might make for... Oh, Kekai Sensen. Okay, and Arslan Senki. Cool. I actually really remember this era pretty well. And then you've got UBW second season coming out at the same time as well. Okay. Perfect. So, what was the first one that I found? Okay, Shokugeki no Soma is really like crisp and cleanly styled, but using mostly standard techniques. And then stuff like Kekai Sensen had some really incredible art and some really incredible digital post-processing, if I remember correctly. Oh, Arslan Senki was at the same time, and it had some terrible looking stuff. So, and then Ufotable was really hitting it hard with unlimited budget work second season at this point. So, yeah, there's a huge shift in what was possible with technology for animation. So let me look at 2009, the season that K-On! Aired. And again, I should have done this before, but I didn't, so editing me, fix whatever you need to in post. Thanks. So let me scroll through this. So Haruhi no Yutsu, Higashi no Eden of the East, which is a really good-looking show. And FMAB, Brotherhood, was coming out in 2009. So that dates us, right? I think that dates us pretty effectively. And then Phantom Requiem for the Phantom was coming out at the same time from B-Train. Yeah, very different times for anime. Also, just the sheer number of shows in 2015 compared to 2009 is noticeable. Just scrolling through them, it's noticeably more rows of shows. That's cool. Okay, I'm getting off track. I just wanted to check and see if I could find a clear distinction in style over this 5-year gap, or like a distinct turning point in technological advancement and possibility. I don't see a really distinct one. I mean, Fate's unlimited budget works is kind of cool in terms of ufotable post-processing, but they'd already done most of that stuff in Kara no Kyokai films, or just in general as ufotable post stuff. Hell, they did most of it in Zero. So I guess that doesn't really work. Anyway, so this is Hibike Euphonium, 2015, released as a 1 cour. I believe the second season is 2 cour. Same as the formula for K-On! The source is a novel, which was published in 2013, with sequels being released by the time the anime began airing in 2015. It was released between the 2 Kyokai no Kanata films, and it was also, in terms of like main shows, it was preceded by Amagi Brilliant Park and followed by whatever Phantom World. It is directed by Ishihara Tatsuya, who shares that same directing credit on Air, Chunibyo, Clannad, Afterstory, Nichijou, and both seasons and the movie of Haruhi Suzumiya. This is going to be interesting to transition from what we've been living in, which is Naoko. How do I say her name? Yamada. Naoko Yamada. Yeah, thank you. Interesting transition from the Yamada verse that we've been living in with K-On! She is still working on this series as series production director is the credit that she's got. Don't know what that actually consists of, but you know, KyoAni is very insular. They a lot of the same people work on a lot of the same shows, and a lot of the staff is shared between K-On! and Hibike, which is kind of amazing given the gap in time between production. There's 5 years between them. There were a couple of interesting changes. One being that while K-On! Lists Reiko Yoshida for script, series composition, and screenplay, and then also lists Juki Hanada for screenplay, this being interesting because it's coming from a 4-koma, so they had to actually write a full script, had to adapt that for the screen, and write a screenplay, and they had 2 staff members for that. Hibike only lists Juki Hanada as a writer, and no other writers credited that I could find, and he's only listed as series composition and no credits for script or screenplay. And I think that that's interesting. I think it has to do with the difference in adapting a novel, which is full of detail, where most of your work is paring things down and figuring out how to express descriptive language visually, versus a 4-koma manga where your scene is set and your characters are set and some of the dialogue is already present, but the flow isn't there for a long-form show. Music was on K-On! By Hajime Hyakoku. Yeah, he's gone. Now it is Akito Matsuda. It also lists Dvorak, Antonin Dvorak, which makes sense and was immediately like, oh, duh, because they're playing in a brass band or something like that, a school band. So they would play classical public domain pieces and marches and things like that, I think. So that's cool. And then just in general reception, I think that's an interesting thing to touch on. Season 1 of Hibike Euphonium is rated right next to Full Metal Panic: The Second Raid, which is one of my favorite KyoAni shows. You can see that I've got my Arbalest and people over there. And it's got a MAL score of 8.02 across 241,500 lists. That makes it the 20th most popular Kyoto Animation show, or actually all pieces of media, because their movies are also included in that rating, and the 22nd ordered by score. Well, while season 2 is their 8th highest rated by score, despite having only half the popularity, half the number of members, like 118,000 or so. So I think that's really interesting. It seems to me that like maybe Hibike, I mean, part of this is it's a sequel syndrome. You always get a narrowed like user base or viewer audience, a smaller audience for sequels, because they have to have watched the first one, and people aren't going to pick up something in second season that they didn't see first season of, most of the time at least. If you do that, you're weird. Just saying. But it seems like they might have refined the formula and really nailed the things that appealed to their core niche audience, and found who that was and how to appeal to them. Thus the higher score, right? They weeded out the people who weren't going to be interested in it no matter what, and then they doubled down on the things that made the people who were interested in it more interested in it. That's my guess as to why season 2 is so much higher in rating, but so much lower in viewership, in audience count, which is a damn shame, I think. But I don't know that because I haven't seen it yet, and we won't get to it till 14 episodes plus OVAs or so. Oh, jeez. Oh, lordy. Anyway, I've been talking for 16 minutes. Wow, we haven't done a long intro where I talk a lot about a show and just like blather for a while about all the things that I've been finding out about it before going in to watch it. So let's start talking about the show itself. And we've talked a lot about like things around it. Hibike Euphonium. I know that this follows a girl named Kumiko. I believe that is her name. She looks very cute in the promo art and stuff. She looks very cute. She holds a brass instrument. It's a brass instrument. I don't know what it's called. It's a horn of some kind. But yeah, I do not know what it's called. Wait, is it called a euphone? Am I... The tenor of the tuba family, the euphonium. Oh, well, they're... Ta-da! Today I learned. So it's like a mini tuba. Yeah. Well-sounding or sweet-voiced. Cool. Okay. So now I know what her instrument is. And it seems like there are a bunch of other girls around her. And some of them are carrying the same instrument, or a similar one, or a bigger version of the same one. One of them seems to have an upright bass, and the other one seems to have a trumpet. But they're all really cute. There's like noticeable gorgeous lighting. Noticeably beautiful lighting with the Lucky Star swing across the hair and everything. Yeah. Beautiful lighting. And then there's this fourth poster that's very different, where they're all in much lighter uniforms, completely different uniform color. And they look more like they're out of K-On! Or out of a different Cute Girls Doing Cute Things show. Yeah, there's some incredible gradient lighting on some of these images. And then the redness on their knees, and there are like multiple gradations of skin tone. So if that actually occurs in the anime, we're just gonna be like, what the fuck? How? Yeah, so we're gonna follow her, and I assume she's gonna be in some kind of band, or band club, or something, and is gonna have dramatic interactions with other characters and go on her journey to, I don't know, become a cool musician, or find the meaning of music, or find the meaning of friendship through music, or something. I don't know. Let's watch it, shall we? So yeah, without further ado, let us get into Hibike Euphonium Season 1, Episode 1. I went and downloaded this morning. I am using the FFF version because I went and I looked around and people were like, that seems like a good version. So I downloaded it. If you have a version that you would prefer that I watch with, let me know and we'll see what we can do. Until then, we're going to watch with this version because it seems to be it's the one that people seem to like. So, this is first episode. I'll do a whole spiel so that you're aware of everything. I have a Patreon. This will be on early access. If you want next episode of Hibike Euphonium a week early, you can go and get it there. There will be a week early of all my other weekly shows on there as well. So go check that out. There's also access to the Discord. You can get that for as little as $1, so you can come in and chat with other people who are really gung-ho about Hibike and actually KyoAni in general. And there are some people in there who are super duper 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 KyoAni shills like Fab. Hi Fab. I know you're watching this. Thanks. But yeah, so check that out. If you want more, you can go and get it. What else? Likes, subs, buttons, all that stuff. There will be multiple versions of this reaction video. You can find, I do timer-based versions on YouTube, and then I do picture-in-picture versions with the video up there, in links to BitChute and Mega in the description down there. The timer-based version on YouTube will have full discussion at the end, and this whole discussion at the beginning. It'll also have a beep beep timer at the beginning, which will go boop 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 beep. And on the beep and the green light is the same frame that Hibike starts playing on my screen. So if you're playing along, that's probably when you want to do so. And yeah, so check that out if you want more. You can go and get it. But yeah, so we're gonna follow her, and Yeah, the picture-in-picture version is just the section with the video in it. So come back here for a discussion if you want to watch that version. Cool? Cool. Let's get into it. Hibiki Euphonium, Season 1, Episode 1, Beep Beep Timer goes here. Okay, Kyoto Concert Hall. Wind Ensemble Competition. Those don't appear to be the uniforms that we've seen them in. Oh no, they're like suit jackets equivalents. Is this the present? Whoa. Dud gold? What does that mean? God, this is pretty. Shaky cam? Holy shit, that's pretty. Whoa. I gotta put my tone swap hat on. Moments. Mmm. Mmm. The attention to detail is insane. Oh. No, no, that's real bad. Yep. But that's a bunch of good musicians playing badly intentionally. All right, we got an OP. Oh shit. Tiny girl, big bass. Is that the one from the beginning? Okay. Oh, okay. Wow, that was kind of neat. It's a big cast. It's a huge cast. Is that the episode title? No. I like the little green accents in her eyes. They give her a lot of life. Instead of those just being white or a lighter color of her eye color, they give her sort of a hazel feel. She's got it too. Hello. Okay. So she claims that she came to this school just because they had the sailor uniforms that she likes. Oh my Kumiko. She keeps doing that. All right, that's gonna be a running gag. Where she says things that are just slightly, they could be taken the wrong way. No. Yeah, Sapphire. This is a very Yamada shot. A little embarrassing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you're tiny. Used to play UFO. Not really. Okay. Okay. What a coincidence, indeed. Kumiko's like, do we have to, though? So where did her passion go? Oh, that's a character. Ha. I love her. Yep. Again with the Yamada E shots. Ah! Ah! She's great. Oh. Yeah, what does dud gold mean? Tuner? Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay, so that is her. Yeah, before she changes her mind. Uh-huh. So you do know her. Yeah, exactly. Holy crap, that's pretty. Wow, that's a low bar. What does that mean? Thank you. Oh. So getting gold is just the prerequisite. A little bit. Yeah, but premise stated. I'm with you on that one, Midori. So what's going to occur? Hmm. What does she think they were talking about? Oh, because she overheard her in the classroom. And hello. Hi. Quick way to introduce your childhood friend character. Hmm. Oh, why'd you do that? Oh, jeez. Not sure yet. Well, there's our tension. Our main character doesn't want to go where she needs to go for the story. Oh. Mm. Who are you? Oh. Ah. North Junior High Prefectural. That was an interesting interaction and an interesting way to introduce a character. So why does he have a recording of that? Was that her school's? Yeah, it was. Is he the conductor? He is. Again, the attention to detail is nuts. Yeah. Hey, that was a little something. Yep. Hmm. She's just slowly reconnecting with these little bits of that old gung ho joy from these other characters. It's great. Okay. Gotta confront her. Wow. Red string of fate type stuff. No preview. Cool. Okay. So that is Reina. That tells us what next episode is going to be. Is getting Reina Kosaka on board with the trio that we've already established. 3+1. This gives us our 4 cute girls, and they are very cute and distinct, and all have very like striking character designs, distinct accent pieces, and distinctive down to everything, down to their eyes, down to in some cases their skin tone is slightly different. Like she is a little bit lighter, and there's a little bit more red here than there is, and there's a little bit more green in her skin color. You see it here too. It's kind of amazing. I wonder what determines the color of the scarf that they wear. Because I guess the red is the first years. Because it seems like everyone in their class has the red scarves. But then once they get into the music room, the older girls, the ones who seem to be in charge, appear to have green scarves. As though they're a year older or so. This was an excellent episode. And I mean that in like an I have to clarify what I mean about that. I mean that in terms of speaking to its to the amount of craft that is visibly on display here. Does that make sense? I don't want to say that it's like I'm saying it is objectively good, because that's silly. But the work put into it is serious and significant and makes it, I think, excellent. Um, from a craftsmanship standpoint, as well as from an emotional impact and from an effectiveness standpoint. When we look at a piece of media, we have to ask, like, what is this piece of media trying to accomplish? And in the case of an episode one of an ongoing show or a long running show, or even just a single core show, um, an episode one has a lot of responsibilities. It needs to introduce the world, the cast, the characters, the initial conflict, give some idea of what the show is going to be moving forward, so that people can decide that they actually want to watch it and get excited about it. Um, it's got a ton of stuff to do, and then as a piece of media, it also needs to start saying something in and of itself, and start creating a direct connection between us and our main character and the world that they inhabit, so that we can feel as though we inhabit that world too. And I think that on every level, this episode, and we'll see as we get deeper into the show, but I think on every level this episode is a knockout. And I think I feel about this episode rather similarly to the way that I felt about K-On! Season 1, K-On! Episode 1, in that I know that this is, there's work here, and there's care here, and it's not just shot, reverse shot. There are, even in this one short episode, there are a ton of interesting and engaging and sort of eye-catching, and attention-grabbing visual tricks and little bits of style. One of those being the return of the very, very Naoko Yamada leg emotion segments, especially around Midori, more than the other characters, I think. Cut to legs cut off at the knees to have our characters express and emote to each other with voiceover over their legs moving. A very Yamada thing to do. So we can still see that hand here. I think that this intro to start us off in the middle of the past, because that's where we start off. And this is the first thing that we see on screen. And you'll hear people say that opening shots are everything. So opening shot is people milling around about a concert hall, win ensemble competition. Instantly we're in exposition verse. Hurry, hurry. We've got these uniforms, which, if we're paying attention, are nothing like any of the uniforms that we see on any of the promotional material, and they don't look like high school sailor uniforms. So, guess this is middle school or junior high. And they're all dressed up. So, oh, they're competing. Okay, this is our first introduction to our main character. She sits down next to someone who's already seated, who will also become a character, I believe. And then we do this whooshy whoosh. The impact across the amphitheater. We got gold. We think that's great. They got gold. I'm going to go tell Asami, which is not Kosaka. But they will not be moving on to... Yeah. And this brings the first element of confusion. We only got dud gold, but it's still a gold. And she's happy about this. This is actually a very Yui moment in my mind. It's like, we didn't make it, but we did good. Cool. This is our first defining characteristic of our main character, and we might even miss it if it weren't for this other character sat down next to her, who takes it very differently. And this is Kosaka. Takes it very differently, much more seriously, and views this as a failure. And their interaction colors our perspective on both characters. She turns to her and goes, "Congratulations, we got gold." And she's like, "Are you fucking for real? I hate this." And there's our first leg shot. I hate this so much I want to die. The movement is almost as though she's racked by this. Weren't we trying to make it all the way? And here, our main character says her first too blunt, tactless thing, which is, "Did you really think we could make it to nationals? Like, you really think we were going to do that? Come on." This is an amazing line because it's like, I'm sure that all of us have done something like this, where you misstep just a little bit and you realize that you just shattered someone's dreams with the way you said that. Yes, she did believe they could make it to nationals, and she was putting in the effort not to, and the fact that you weren't is going to piss her the hell off. Because if you come at this with this attitude, "This is good enough, we were never really going to make it to nationals anyway," then you weren't. And you weren't putting in that same effort. So instantly, we've got a character with a conflict. And the conflict is more, it's not between these two characters, it's that these two characters have different relationships with competition and with music, in a way that makes them clash, and makes them interesting. Makes them interesting. Also, we get a tour de force of gorgeous Kyoto animation, hair movement, coloration, these Lucky Star swoops of light on hair. I'm going to call these Lucky Star swoops from now on. I'm just going to call them that. Do you see the subtle gradient in color here? Like, not just to the cheeks where she's blushed, but the light here versus the color of the light here. You see the difference between those two? And then there's this other layer of shadow. Same thing in the hair. There are multiple layers of different gradients being used. This you can see darkness here all the way over into light. But then this is also gradient out toward light. And this goes gradient in toward lighter and then darker back here. There are also these little inserts in their eyes, which are hand-drawn. What I mean is they seem to be redrawn frame by frame to ensure that they're emoting the way that's intended. You can see them morph and warp. As the characters express and go through emotion. The consistency with which each reflecting bit of light, which builds the space that is her eyes, is tracked as she turns her head over here. And note that she's not just turning her head. This is a complicated motion. She turns her head, and then our camera moves to follow her. You see that? Camera static. It's actually moving slightly, but camera static for the most part. Turn, boom, follow. Actually, where did we saw something like this in Banana Fish a little while ago, where they did a similar camera technique, except that we were essentially first person down the sight of a gun, and he turns the gun to face somebody and fires, and our camera moves like a frame after the gun does. So it creates this sort of jerky, impactful flow to the sequence. And it also makes us think, what is she thinking as she looks up? We know where she's looking. She's looking toward the girl sitting next to her. But yeah, it puts us into that mindset. It's great. And that's our introduction to our characters. I am upset. So this is conflict here, and we're going to address it by the end of this episode. That's kind of awesome. So, other character traits. Steps in front of the mirror, checks herself out in the mirror, has some body dysmorphic issues. Her boobs aren't big enough, as big as she would like. Common thing for anime girl characters to deal with. She's an adolescent. She's in a period of change. Things are weird. She hasn't found herself. She doesn't feel quite comfortable in her current state as she is right now. And then we just get some gorgeousness, some absolutely stunning, beautiful shit. And this puts, like last season, I went and I did a spring treasure hunt, and I watched every show, the first episode of every show in the season, and nothing looks this good. None of it. Just none of it. What's airing this season that looks even close? Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing even close. I mean, I'll praise Kimetsu no Yaiba for looking pretty good, but it doesn't look like this. This is production quality. This is effort put into things that will only be used once, over and over and over and over again. This is awesome. Okay, so then we get our first scene of music. Let us welcome you with a performance. We get everyone set, and it's clear when you see this that these are made to move. Like, I don't know if I'm able to express that well, but like the way that this is drawn, the way that this trumpet is drawn, it's as though I believe that these are plungers that should move, and that they would be able to draw that. And then I think they do at some point. They don't actually show her play a note. Okay, never mind. But they're right on the money with every breath, every blow, everything that we do see on camera. They're right on it. Okay, OP. Hibike Euphonium. It's a very simplistic OP in a lot of ways. A lot of very simple stuff on blank backgrounds with like the frame in it. That's it. And then our main character blowing with the backing track, which is kind of awesome. And then we take a trip through a 3D CG, I assume it's a euphonium, and we meet our characters. Kumiko, Hazuki, Midori, or Sapphire, and Reina. And their instruments. So, kind of K-On! In a sense, as the K-On! OPs run through the cast and each of their instruments. Interesting. Also, I just want to note that I freaking love the design of these sailor outfits. Especially the color scheme. It's built to match with the main character's hair color and become like like this hair color, this rich brown, this sort of faded darker brown of the main shirt or the main jacket and skirt, and the red of the ascot together create this beautiful little triad. It's just lovely. I love it. I love it. It all fits. And it all works with the golds of the brass instruments, which I assume that they took into consideration. Fantastico. I don't think that any of the other characters work quite as well with the uniforms. I think that they're tailor-made for our main character. And there are these gorgeous, like, landscapes. Beautiful stuff. So we do get a bit of playing, and it's like right on. I'm gonna assume that they've gone and done the research that all of the fingerings and stuff are actually accurate to the notes being played, which is kind of nuts. But I'm going to guess that KyoAni went and did it. So here's something amazing. This is a fully CG classroom. with all of these. Everything in this room is a fully CG model. What they've done is that they've motion blurred the fast moving outer part of this rotating shot, so that it's really difficult to tell that these are CG characters. In fact, I don't think there are any frames really. Yeah, there you go. There you can kind of see that that's a pretty standard face. But there are very few frames where there's any distinct outlines, because those would be a dead giveaway that this is a CG space. And then we move into a 2D space, and that turns this into a beautiful transition, which it really is. It transitions beautifully into the 2D. I wonder where the exact changeover happens. I think it's when we get to her feet. Right. Actually, there. Ah. Somewhere in there. They could have actually left the 3D space around it, so they wouldn't have to fill in all the details perfectly. Either way, it's kind of amazing. And then this teases a huge cast of unique characters with unique silhouettes. And that's I think that's really cool. Yeah, huge cast. And this is something cool. She keeps flashing back to those words eat at her. They eat at her. Reina's statement at the beginning of the episode eats at her. It tells her that there's something wrong with the way that she's viewing music. That's what the feeling that I get from it. And she's trying to reconcile it. And we see this later when she's talking to her cactus. It's like she's doing that thing you do where you run through an argument that you lost, and you come up with better arguments, and you win the argument in your head, right? That's what she's doing. And that's something that we do when something bothers us about the way that we won or lost an argument, or the way that a scene played out. And we can't really put it to rest because we can't change it. But now she gets the opportunity to. That's kind of cool. So yeah, she says they were terrible out loud, and that lets her... Yeah, lets us meet Kato Hazuki. Yeah. Meet our teacher. Meet a bunch of characters. And we meet Sapphire, who is called out based on her name being weird. And we see, when she shakes, we see just this little bit of her. Yep, that's a character. Hi. And she's got little pink dots in her eyes. Yeah. What color dots are Kato's? Oh, she's got little green dots too. Welcome to high school. So, there's a Yamada shot. Hey. Boop, 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 boop. She's also got these cute little things on her socks. I don't know what those are. But yeah, she's childish and bubbly and happy, and it's all expressed through the legs. And the fact that she's still carrying around a tuba mascot character, even though she's given up on being in Wind Ensemble, it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit telling. She won't let go of it. Not really. So she refers to herself as Midori. I'm probably going to call her Midori, unless like they constantly call her Sapphire later or something. And she's got her own little thing. She's got like a weird iguana. She's got a pink striped iguana. That's kind of cool. And she plays a contrabass. This is a really interesting like little character contrast thing. I guess it's sort of just moe. Tiny girl, super tiny. Sort of like frightened. You know what character she reminds me of? She reminds me of the really shy artist in anime about anime. Anime. It starts with a K. Anime about making anime. Shirobako. It doesn't start with a K. It starts with a she. Okay. Rip. Yeah, she reminds me of the really shy artist from Shirobako. But she seems quite a bit more bubbly and not as shy, or cripplingly so. And so here we start to get some bits of dynamic. Midori has experience in wind ensemble, as does Kumiko. So they're characters who understand things. So our main character isn't going to be our fish out of water, things get explained to them character, but we can't expect our audience to necessarily know things about wind ensemble. It's not exactly the most popular sport. So we need to be able to explain some things at least to some characters. And it would be really cheesy and dumb if we had like the leader of the band tell Kumiko what a euphonium is. She would know that already. But this other character, Kato, doesn't know anything about anything. And so having our characters explain what they know to her feels natural, and it feels like it makes sense. I think that this is good exposition for the world. It also sets her up as a bit of an athlete. So that's interesting. And then they're all going to go watch the wind ensemble performance. So they do. Pressed up against the glass. This moment where it's all shot from this side, and then we just close up, ultra close up on the hand, and she matches. Terrifying. She's gorgeous. I love her. One interesting thing, she doesn't seem to have eye dots. Oh, she does have eye dots. She has yellow eye dots. That's cool. I lied. I was wrong. Take back what I was saying. And a green scarf. So, yeah, my reaction, exactly. And a leg. This is also a very K-On! Transition. There's something playful to the way that we can see that she cocks her hip here. I think what's interesting here is that the weight comes off of her left toe. Which means she's rocking back, which is a little bit fun. Whereas leaning forward onto the ball of the foot would be a little bit more tense as she's shifting her weight over onto her left hip. Hard to say. And she pulls this weird prank with this welcome hand. Really strange. So she's staring up at bronze. Tuners. Oh, I see. So she gets a little ear perk. Yeah. Are you all new to this? So she's super gung-ho. I love her. I love her so much. Already. So then we do a little tuning session, and it is pretty rough. They were just a little bit out of tune. And there's Reina. And we do it's given emphasis. To say that this shot is given emphasis is an understatement. So we move here. Give her focus of the frame. She controls the camera from the moment she walks in. And then this whoosh. And she controls the camera because the main character's attention is completely hers. As soon as she walks in the room, locked on, cannot look away, cannot look anywhere else. She's freaked out. Also, her eyes change color here, don't they? Yeah. Much brighter. Interesting. I wonder why that happens. I don't know. Okay, so she's straightforward, knows what she wants. She wants to join. And she wants to win. Oh, yeah. Another leg shot. And then we exit with a slight smile from this this band leader who we've just met. This is gorgeous. Just can I say it's gorgeous? There's this this overexposed quality to the lighting, which makes it feel ethereal and almost dreamlike, and it's perfect for spring and a new school year and meeting people you don't really know yet. And also for just this kind of cute girls doing stuff type of show. It works really excellently. It creates this sort of haze, this sort of dreamlike haze over certain elements of the frame when they're outside. It also creates this oh, what do you call it? Prismatic aberration? Oh my god, did I get it right? Chromatic, damn it. Chromatic aberration, which is a thing which occurs due to refraction and dispersion. But yeah, chromatic aberration, which we can see at the bottom of their collars or their cuffs. That's what those are. Where we got blues and reds separated and bleeding out from each other. Creates this hazy sort of dreamy feel. It's awesome. Also, as usual, KyoAni's environment work is stunning. Like this box with the button on it for pushing the thing, it's got paint chips and like layers of paint, multiple layers of paint that have been painted over one another the way that they would in a real city maintained piece of property. That's fantastic. So then we get our explanation of what a dud gold is, and thank goodness, because I wouldn't have understood it all. I still don't quite understand, but I get that the idea is groups that won gold. Yeah, well, I'm missing a line. Band competitions have gold, silver, and bronze prizes. The groups sent to bigger competitions are chosen from the gold prize winners. Those that weren't chosen, yeah, are called dud golds. So you can win gold, but not get chosen. So if you don't move on, it doesn't do anything for you. And then here we have a statement. Maybe if the three of us join, we can be their saviors. Maybe. Let's find out. We'll have to watch to find out, right? This is a dramatic question. If the three of them join Wind Ensemble, can they make it to nationals? It's also a setup that's got more in common with a sports show than anything else. Going to an underdog school that doesn't have like the best facilities or the best trainers, the best coaches or any of that stuff, and then working your way up from there and eventually competing with a bunch of the people from your alma mater, which was the top tier school, right? You see this in Kuroko no Basuke, you see this in Haikyuu, you see this in lots of sports shonen, and that's kind of the setup that's here. I don't know if we'll go down that route. I feel like this will be much more personal and much more about their individual interactions and their personal relationships with music and with competition, or with Wind Ensemble as like an umbrella for both of those. But maybe it could. I don't know. I'm fine either way. With the huge cast that we've shown, we can flesh those out in any number of ways. And then Midori says an amazing line. I believe she makes her own thesis statement about what she believes music is, a powerful language that speaks to people's hearts. I can agree with that. No matter where you are in the world. Yeah. Or what language you speak. And this is all finished with a little gag. And then they ask her, so will you join? And she's not sure at this point. She's reluctant. Clarinet and bass clarinet. So that's just that section. Cool. So then she goes and chills out here by the park and remembers freaking out about Kosaka being there as soon as that she would be at a better school. And then a childhood friend appears. Sup? And this is deft. This is deftly done. Hi, here's an archetypal character who you recognize. Just we're gonna say enough things so that you know who this character is. We've known each other since we were little. At least say hi. And we even get this before that when this guy randomly appears above her. She doesn't freak out the way that a character usually would if this was a rando. She knows this guy. Oh, it's just you, right? There's this moment of what? Oh, and then recognition. It's just you, Shuichi. We've known each other since we were little. At least say hi. We go to the same school, too. Oh, okay. Set up, tick, 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 done. Also, he knows that Kosaka Reina is there. That's cool. And they were in Wind Ensemble together at some point. That's cool. Are you eating at my place tonight? So they've had a long friendship. They're family friends. What are you doing as far as clubs? Not joining the ensemble? And he is just sort of defaults to it. Like, I guess I'll join. Don't have anything else I want to do. And she's still thinking about that. She's still thinking about this moment. And then she takes a stand. I'm not joining. I was thinking about it, but I decided not to. See ya. So then we are introduced to the idea that her sister is here. Help me fix dinner. We're introduced to Cactus-kun. So far, best boy. Yes, I'm gendering that cactus. And then she thinks about that line that she said before. Did you really think that we could make nationals? And then I think the next time we see her, she's talking to the cactus. I just kind of blurted out what I was thinking. I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. I wasn't trying to be mean. Just blurted out what I was thinking. And I was pretty happy that we got gold. And then she's interrupted by her sister. Ah, you're going all out. So, you're giving up on playing in wind ensembles. And it's not that she's said anything about this. It's just the school choice that tells her sister this. That's enough. You're giving up on playing in wind ensembles. Are you sure you want to do that? Why? Why? Because you're at Kituuji. Which is not where you would go if you were planning to play in wind ensemble, if you're planning to go the distance. So she spends the day reminiscing. And we experience this only through her looking at the shelf, and we see her later with the book of sheet music. But what we really see is this other character who we don't meet right now. He appears to be the guy who was conducting during her middle school performances. This rabbit, I want to call it a K-On callback just a little bit. maybe. But he's going to the shrine to pray, and has this sort of goofy, incredibly detailed knowledge of like the paper fortunes that you get at shrines like this, which is kind of weird, but very fun. And then he goes for his phone, and this serves as an interesting letting us into he's part of this world, and he will come up. His headphones tear out, and he doesn't have one of those phones, those fancy phones that stops playing when your headphones get torn out the way they do now. It's just an older iPhone, and it doesn't do that. Oh no, he touches it and it plays. I see. So it's not that. It's that it was paused and it starts playing there. So it's Orpheus in the Underworld, which is that a Dvorak piece? Offenbach. Okay. Today I learned. And then after hearing a little bit of it, he already had it up, right? As though he was already listening to it. And then we see her reminiscing with Cactus Kun, going through the sheet music and all the notes and bits and pieces, and hearing it in her mind. And he's doing the same, right? He's remembering himself conducting it, I think, as he drives. But we get no idea who he is or how he's going to relate. I assume he'll end up being the conductor or the faculty director of the wind ensemble or something like that. But I don't know. Let me just see her hanging out, laying here with the book. And she's changed her hair back to the way that it was. And to the way that I think it is in all the promo material. She gets going. And then we have this great sequence where she remains static, but changes expression as the environment morphs around her. And this is just fantastic. Just beautiful. And she's gone out and bought a mouthpiece. I don't know what those are. Those called reeds for brass instruments? Brass instrument mouthpiece. It appears to be just called a mouthpiece. Yep. Okay. So she buys herself a mouthpiece, which are relatively cheap, just to practice. She calls her, you talk about jumping the gun, you haven't even decided on an instrument, and it's just whoosh. Teach me. And I think two things happen here. One is that she gets a little secondhand high from mostly from Kato's excitement and enthusiasm. She gets a little secondhand high from that. But then she's also, because she's been asked to teach, something about teaching people, something that you care about or used to or know about is important. And all of this sort of factors into her decision making by the end. When they ask her once more. When she takes advice passed down to her by an elder. Heck, this appears to be happening in her house. Is this her sister? Is this her sister teaching her? Let me see what her sister's eye color is when we meet her. Yeah. I'm going to say I think that's her sister, which means her sister was a former wind ensemble performer. And here she's gone from glum to a slight smile. She's happier when she's dealing with musical stuff. Do you want to join the wind ensemble with us? And it all comes to this. Yeah, I do. You know, I kind of do. And there's no real fanfare for this. It just happens. That's great. And then the next piece is going to be confronting Reina Kosaka. Probably mostly for Kumiko to resolve her own struggle with this, the things that she said before. Okay. I feel like I've already watched a lot more than one episode of this show. That's magic. That's really good production and tight writing, and efficient storytelling. Because I feel like I've been with these characters for half a season, and I've been with them for 20 minutes. 23 minutes and 41 seconds. Something like that. But I feel like I've been with them for 6 episodes. That says something. That says something about the quality of a show. And not just the production quality, but how it's thought out. How the characters are boiled down to their most essential traits. And those are expressed to the audience immediately so that they've got strong, solid foundations to build off of. This makes me very excited because with the level of drama that we reach in the first 30 seconds of this show, we reach a level of comprehensible interpersonal drama with characters that we do not know, do not care about, but we understand the situation they are in, at least to some extent. They did well in the competition, but not well enough to move ahead. And we get 2 very different characters, very different responses to that. One, our main character, Kumiko, is like, well, okay, go with the flow. We still got gold. We did pretty good. And the other is like, blood, sweat, and tears, motherfucker. I put it all into this, and yeah, I planned on winning, and I still plan on it. So, from that, and from the way that Reina walks into the room when they're listening in on the band practice, and has none of the hesitation that Kumiko has. She walks into the room and says, "I'd like to join this wind ensemble. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go right now. I'm in." Gives me the feeling that what Kumiko said to her in that concert hall just made her double down. And I get the feeling that if anything, here's an idea. If anything, Reina is more like your classic shonen protagonist, sports shonen protagonist, than Kumiko is. Kumiko is a little bit of a hybrid and a little bit closer to Yui in the sort of going with the flow kind of way. But Reina, and we don't know this yet because she's had like one speaking line so far, besides the flashback. Reina seems more like a sports shonen protagonist. Like I think of her like Hinata from Haikyuu. Goes to this relatively slummy school. I mean, in Hinata's case, that's because his idol went there. But goes to this relatively slummy school and plans completely to become the best from there, from nowhere, and to beat out all of the better schools that maybe turned her down or something. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think we'll actually end up going down the focus on competition route. Maybe we do though. That could be really interesting too. I don't know. I have no idea what the overarching structure of this story is going to be. Um, I don't even know if this is more a high school anime or more a club stuff anime. Do you know what I mean? Like, is this focused on everyday high school life or entirely on club stuff and practice and stuff? I don't know. I just don't know. In any case, we're getting to that point where I'm running out of steam a little bit, and so I'm gonna wrap it up pretty soon. So, what do I come away with from the first episode of Hibike Euphonium? I've got like 15 minutes of research to try and discern the differences in staff and stuff between this and K-On! And just tried to give myself an idea of what to expect. And what I got was an unexpected version of the expected. I knew I was in for beautiful stuff because people talk about Hibike and they say it's gorgeous. It's jaw-droppingly gorgeous, right? It is so far already. It's freaking gorgeous, but in ways that I didn't necessarily expect. And things about it are beautiful that I didn't necessarily expect. Like especially these eye dots. They're the big standout thing because they add an emotional layer to the characters that isn't there in a lot of anime. I expected gorgeous fluid hair animation. KyoAni always does that. I expected almost photorealistic backgrounds taken from like trips through Kyoto, like walking around, looking at stuff, choosing settings from the real world. That's to be expected from KyoAni. But the efficiency of the screenplay, I did not expect. There doesn't seem to be any chaff here or any wasted material. The care in the character designs I expected, but it still is sort of stunning. The general production on every frame is just stellar. And this is one of those things that I'll end up talking about less and less as the show goes on, because you become, well, partly because you become inured to it, but partly because there's only so much value that I can provide by pointing out the same things over and over. It's not worthwhile, I don't think. So I wanted to do it some justice in this first episode and talk about a lot of the things that I found really beautiful here. Because I might end up just glazing over them later. Because when a show is as beautiful as this, unfortunately, that does become the background, right? Hopefully we can still find unique and interesting things to point out and cool cuts and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. In any case, I feel like I've watched half a season. I feel like I know these characters better than I should for the 20 minutes of runtime that we've had. And I'm genuinely excited to see where this goes. I'm genuinely excited to see this conversation with Reina, considering that it's something that's been set up from literally the first second of episode 1. We get to see it paid off in episode 2. That's awesome. That's perfect. I love it. I love it. I really like this core group of characters already. I can't wait to meet the prankster, seemingly band leader with the green scarf. Cannot wait to meet her and get to know her a little bit more. She seems like a really fun character, and also super pretty. But I think Midori is super cute. I think Kumiko is ridiculously cute and interesting. She's got some quirks. This blunt side to her that she uses twice in this episode. I think it might be 3 times, and then yeah, I can't wait to see these girls get to know each other and grow as a quartet. I assume that they are going to be a quartet with Reina, because that's in all the promo material and in the OP and in the ED. Oh, speaking of which, I think there was something in the ED that I wanted to look at. a little bit more closely, but I'm not sure. So let's hippity, happity, hoppity, hippity, hop. Was there anything here? Some very pretty stuff. They're all tied by the red string of fate. Yeah, all of them, right? Yeah. Or no. So she and Reina are tied, and the others are all strung out along amongst them or between them. So as though theirs is the core bond and everything else crystallizes out from that. Okay. Okay. Well, the show is colorful. It's beautifully lit, beautifully drawn. The general production again, backgrounds, color, and KyoAni's color department is so fucking good. Also, is there a color coordinator listed on staff? That's something that I want to look at. Is there anybody listed for color? Ah, Akio Takeda, color design. What else have you worked on? Shunibyo, all of Hibike, all of Air and Summer, and Baha no Studio? I don't know what that is. It's a 1-episode OVA. Fantasy magic rated PG for children. With a little rabbit? It's a KyoAni OVA? From 2007. I might just watch this at some point and just check it out. Yoshiji Kigami. Is the director. Directed Munto? And piecework on other stuff. Okay. Anyway, this is an aside. We're getting sidetracked and it's getting weird. But yeah, so there is a color designer. But not only the design of the colors, but the following through on them and like altering them frame by frame, shot to shot to fit the scene and make it all work. It's fantastic. I also really appreciate a more realistic hair color palette than we see in, say, Lucky Star. Because we're doing like a more grounded anime where I feel like I am meant to believe that these girls could be real people at a real school in a real wind ensemble. So having them have like blue and purple hair would be a little weird. So cool. There are some characters with like green hair and into the blues, but they're all pretty muted. And I think totally fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. But definitely prefer that over like crazy bombastic color, and it shows that with just little changes to tone, you can create very distinctive characters. All of our characters are entirely different in height, in hairstyle, in accessories, in the way that they stand, in the way that they act and interact with each other. And they've got these little goofy things like this striped pink zebra iguana. Okay. All in all, gorgeous episode, and I don't just mean that in a visual sense. I mean that on every level, including and most notably, like especially above everything else, beyond everything else, the screenplay, the writing, the efficiency and economy of writing, and the economy of screen time dedicated to each emotional beat and each piece of information. Exposition is done fluidly and deftly, and when it has to be done sort of ham-fistedly with Shuichi, I believe his name is, the guy. It's done quickly and it's over before you recognize it and before you care. But then when it's exposition that we as the audience want to know more, things like what is a euphonium, they find a way to have characters explain it to each other so that it feels natural and fluid and it flows. When it comes to setting up and building toward payoff of conflicts, the main conflict that we're waiting for right now is what is going to happen when Kumiko talks to Reina. We don't know. We don't know what's happened to each of them in the time since that conversation. How long has it been? Has it been a year? Has it been just the summer? Like, don't really know. Who is Reina now? Has she changed because of the things that Kumiko said to her? Does she even remember it or care? Did it have the same kind of impact on her that it did on Kumiko? Because it's obviously weighing on Kumiko. These are all really interesting things that could have taken a lot longer to set up. And I think with even a little bit less of a deft touch would have taken a lot longer to set up. And this episode would have either felt rushed, like it had too much stuff into it, or fluffy, as though it didn't have enough in it. And I think that in its current form, this episode found a perfect balance where it feels like it gets everything that it needs to done, but without making me feel like it whooshed by too fast for me to follow or anything like that. It's just right. It's like the middle bed for the Goldilocks bears. It's just right. It's perfect. I like it a lot. I like it a lot already. Okay, guys. So, I like it. We're going to wrap it up there. I've been Tiabu. This has been Hibike Euphonium, Season 1, Episode 1. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and as always, I hope to catch you next week in the next one. If you want to pick that next one up a week early, you can go and get it on Patreon. Cool. If you want to hang out in the Discord, you can also acquire that via Patreon. Buttons, likes, subs, all that stuff, it's great. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And, yeah. I hope to catch you next week in the next episode. Peace.